Well, I'm not going to wait for any special three-digit number today. I'm just going to go with it. I woke up at 12:22. Yes, that's when I rolled over and looked at the clock when I first woke up. And I laid there till almost 1, and then I got up, and I was actually going to start this at 1:55, but it got past me, and so I just waited 5 more minutes. Anyway, the title is Election Day in the USA. So what? I realize that elections take place on different days in different parts of the world. In the US, the national elections usually take place on the first Tuesday in November. Like most people, I am inundated with mail and phone messages designed to get out the vote. I used to think that was important, voting that is. However, the last time I voted was November 2008. I voted for the only person on the ballot I believed had any integrity, Cynthia McKinney, a black congresswoman from Georgia. She ran on the Green Party ticket. I had several friends locally who also voted for her, yet the newspaper declared she got 0 votes in our county. If you remember, George W. Bush was selected to occupy the White House twice, 2000 and 2004, without winning either election. I am convinced that corporate-controlled elections are virtually meaningless because the outcome is predetermined, regardless of what people want. I know a lot of people will get mad at me for saying what I just said and for taking the stand that I've been taking since 2008. And I used to get mad at people for not caring enough to vote. So I understand why people feel the way they do, that voting is important. It's one of our rights. But our rights have been undermined, literally stolen. And what we're given in corporate America and the corporate world at large is we're given the illusion of democracy. Now, I'm not even a proponent of democracy as such, because it has been manipulated and there's never been any such thing as a true democracy on a massive scale on this planet. It's always been the interests of the wealthy, the interests of the entrenched power elite that has made a difference. They don't even allow viable candidates to get on the ballot in most cases, unless it's like the Green Party or even libertarians. And if I was going to choose a party to align with, it would be the Libertarian Party in the United States. But I also consider myself a progressive, which to some people is the opposite of libertarianism. Libertarianism I like because it limits government. Progressive politics I like because it allows freedom for the individual without the government intruding on people's private choices of what they do as consenting adults. Now, I'm obviously not going to vote in this election any more than I did in the previous national elections. I haven't voted in any primaries or local elections either. Now, there are initiatives on the ballot that people have tried to encourage me to get out and vote for the legalization of medical marijuana. These rules that limit the use of marijuana or other natural substances are insane. They are not laws, they are control mechanisms. Everything in the corporate structure is a control mechanism to give people the illusion of choice, when in fact the only people that have any real choice are the people that have the illusion of authority on their side. That's all. The common person has no choice. Why? Because everything in the current corporate structure, corporations, remember, are legal fictions. They run on fraud. They operate on a system of coercion, manipulation, deception, and virtually it's nothing but energy harvesting of the rich, harvesting the energy of the little people. Peter Engler, in commenting on, I guess, my recent video, I'm not going to scroll back up and look because then I lose. They're talking about the family that matters is not in China, but in Switzerland. And people commented on that. And he has a quote here from Wikipedia about Louise Elizabeth de Meuron, M-E-U-R-O-N. And she asked one of them, and she used to ask people, are you somebody or are you getting a wage? That's the definition between elite and slaves. Slaves get wages. The elite do not produce anything, do not create anything. They exercise control by force. That's what they do. That's what the elite have always done. They exercise control over ordinary people by force, by mandate, by statute, but they violate natural law. They violate common sense. And all of our system, all of our media, our courts, our government institutions, our multinational corporations, our financial institutions, they're all run based on fraud. Truth doesn't matter. The will of the people doesn't matter. Now, energetically, on a spiritual level, I would agree. You need to cast your vote cosmically in favor of changing the world from a system of fraud to a system of truth. You need to cast that vote, and you do that by taking a stand with those who are revealing the injustices and the inconsistencies in our world. In other words, the blatant lies that we're being told day in and day out. One of my friends broke his leg, and he goes in for surgery today. And there's a picture of him on the Facebook wall. And one of my other friends said, what can I do to help you? And that same friend, when I asked for help, said, I can't help you if you're fighting the system, basically. That's not the exact words, but that's the principle. Fighting the system is fighting for something that is valuable. It's called truth. Fighting the system is fighting for something that's called that is valuable. It's called integrity. It's called wanting a better world for everybody. It's called wanting something that works instead of something that's broken. It's idiotic to me to continue to resist those who are wanting good for humanity, which only empowers by default those who continue to maintain the fraud, the deception, and everything else that goes on in our world in the name of government, in the name of religion, in the name of the matrix, the system, the status quo. I'm against the status quo. And I'm not afraid of being against something, because I can't be for anything if I'm not equally against that which opposes the thing that I'm for. That's the world that we live in. It's a world of polarity. It's a world of opposites. And only by recognizing and identifying the opposites can we even begin to think of making an intelligent choice on any matter. We cannot ignore the polarities. That doesn't mean we have to polarize. We can dance. The light and the dark can do a dance and balance each other. That's a good thing. The masculine and feminine can dance and balance each other. That's a good thing. The natural polarities that exist in nature, the positive and negative energetic charges, balance each other and create a synergy and even harmony when they're dancing and not dueling. As long as you're going to pit one against another and create a duel, create a conflict. But Ron, I can hear one of my friends say, but Ron, you're constantly creating conflicts with the system. The conflict exists because the system is not true. It's not telling the truth. I'm against lies. Truth is the most important thing. Integrity is the most important thing to me. As I said, I voted for Cynthia McKinney because she had the courage to stand up in the halls of Congress and tell the truth on C-SPAN. I don't think she got much mainstream media coverage, but it was covered on C-SPAN. Okay? That's why I voted for her. I would have voted for Dennis Kucinich if he had gotten onto the Democratic Party ticket. I would have voted for Ron Paul if he was allowed to get on the Republican ticket. But the system does not allow people who will make positive changes in the world to even be seen as viable candidates. They don't have a chance. Well, Ron Paul won elections in the primaries. And in fact, the Boston Globe, back in that year, reported that he had won the New Hampshire primary, which was the first primary in the country. But then within an hour, they rescinded it and gave the thing to the Republican guy. I can't even remember right now who the heck he even was, because it doesn't matter. McCain, I guess. And that's a joke. McCain is a coward. He was a traitor when he was a prisoner of war. And he rises to be a senator and runs for president of the United States. I mean, this is a guy who would sell his mother if the deal was right, if the price was right. And these are the kind of people that get put into viable candidate status by the media, which is controlled by the people that want to control the world, by the corporate structure, by the fraudulent structure of our world. Folks, I'm trying to get you to see. And I wish I wasn't just preaching to the choir. I wish I was actually getting the attention of people that have been brainwashed to believe that by focusing on the problem, you only increase the problem. That is absolute, utter nonsense. You can deny and deny and deny the problem till you're blue in the face. And it doesn't change anything, even if you have a positive mental attitude. It doesn't change a thing for the world, for the people, your brothers and sisters. Yes, you are your brother's keeper. You want to help? You're willing to help? Well, help where the issues that matter most are being addressed. I'm addressing the issues that matter most. I want a world that works for everyone. Someone said it's not the problems of the world are not going to be resolved on a collective level. They're only going to be resolved on an individual level. There's truth to that, in that it takes a lot of individual people to be motivated on an individual level to do the right thing, to influence the collective. But until we change the system, there will continue to be violence. There will continue to be war. There will continue to be inequities and injustices. There will continue to be all of the things that make Earth hell. And I'm tired of living in hell on Earth. It's not even purgatory. It's hell for the people that are suffering. It's hell for the people that are dying of diseases for which there are cures that have been withheld by those who only see the system as a way to increase their profits and increase the gap between the rich and the poor. There are people that are dying, that are having their homes stolen by a court system that doesn't look at truth. truth doesn't make sense to these people. Isn't that what the judge said recently to his judicial assistant? This doesn't make sense. Why? Because it's based on truth, not fraud. Well, the only thing that makes sense to the people that want to keep the system going is fraud, because that's what they're indoctrinated with. Is that the way we want? I cast my vote for truth. I cast my vote for freedom. I cast my vote for a system that needs dramatic changes so that every person has an opportunity in the new system, in the repurposed system, to stand in truth and have fair judgments rendered, so that those that are in power cannot just buy police and soldiers to do their ungodly, evil, dastardly deeds, which is what's happening in the United States and around the world. Thank God. I hear the reports that in the former communist nations, things are turning in the opposite direction. I want that to be true. But I will continue no matter what, as long as I have breath, to state what to me is obvious. Elections don't matter at all until we get rid of the criminality of the corporate structure of our world, till we get rid of the criminality of allowing those with the most money to buy influence, to buy media, to buy protection for themselves when they're the very ones that don't deserve protection. They're the cancer in culture. They're the pariahs of our society. And until they're brought down, we don't have a world that's worth living in, even if you want to focus on the beautiful things that happen every day, which they do. And I'm glad that there is still some goodness in the world. But we need to change the system. And voting in crooked elections isn't going to make a bit of difference. That's how I see it, and I thank you for listening. Namaste.